I was watching a video that Jay Lethal did, and shout out to him, by the way. I'm going to probably post the link to the video down into the comments so you can go and check it out for yourself. And he did a very, very, very good detailed commentary about the whole Loni Love situation. Now, by the time this video goes up, you will have already heard my take on the whole Loni Love situation, where I went in like everybody else has been going in on her, and rightfully so, because what she said was completely inflammatory and very off code. But then again, I don't think Loni Love has ever been on code to begin with. But it was something that Jay Lethal has said in his video. I can't remember the exact words, where he was basically talking about how the talk show circuit as a whole for years has been pretty much dominated by women. And that is completely true. There's not a lot of mainstream talk shows that are done or held by men. And I'm talking about daytime, not late night, because I want to make that clear, because a lot of people will say, well, you have people on late night, like you had Arsenio, you have David Letterman, you had Jay Leno, you have and a few others. I can't think of all of them right now, but it's a reason for that. It's a reason why they'll put the men in late night and put the women in daytime, because in daytime it'll attract more viewers. At late night, you gotta think a lot of people probably aren't going to stay up that late. They'll probably be asleep. And then, truth be told, all of them actually, all of those late night shows or those tapings that they do, while they air at late night, they're actually taped during the day. So you're not actually watching a live viewing of that particular show. The only thing that is live during late night is Saturday Night Live. It's SNL. That's the only thing. And I think Mad TV, when Mad TV used to come on. But other than that, those late night television shows are taped during the day, and they are aired in the evening. And the reason I really know that is because one time when I was in New York, back when David Letterman used to host the Late Show, it was a segment he was taping outside, and I happened to see it, and it was during the day. And then they aired that segment during his night feed, which he was already recording, but they just came outside to do that outdoor segment in which they were kicking a soccer ball into an open taxi door. Because I think he had a guest on the show who was a professional soccer player. But I just wanted to put that out there. But he was talking about that right there, and it prompted me to go and make this tweet. I said, funny how a lot of women say their voices aren't being heard, but who has the most talk shows hosted by women that are catered to women, where women's voices are being heard? And the answer to that question should be the vast majority. Because think about it. Think about all the talk shows that have been hosted by women, and try to think of all the talk shows daytime wise have been hosted by men. You had, well, let's talk about the men first. You had Geraldo. You had Montel Williams, who probably is one of the most iconic and most memorable, longest running male hosted talk show host of all time. The reason why he had to end his talk show run is because he had got MS. So health reasons is why he had to end his show. Then you had Maury. And, you know, Maury, his more is almost damn near drama filled. It's not even really a talk show, at least not anymore. Because Maury used to be on a talk show kind of thing. Jerry Springer is kind of on the line of Maury. There's more just drama filled. So I wouldn't really consider that to be a talk show. When I think of a talk show, I'm talking about when they're sitting down, they're talking, they're having a discussion with a panel of people or with an audience. That's what I think of when I think of a talk show. Jerry Springer and Maury, that's just drama filled and everything like that. And of course, we all know that. So I don't really count those two. But there was a show that came out back in the early 2000s. And I can't remember all the guys that were on this panel, but it was the first time ever where they had a panel of men. I think it was like 4 or 5 men that had their own talk show, so to speak. And it was during the day, and it was almost like the male version of The View. I think that's what they were trying to create there. Now, the only person I remember who was on that panel was Mario Lopez. He was one of the only people that I remember being on that show, and it was like 3 other guys. But the show didn't last that long because it didn't get the audience that it was trying to attract, which was male viewers. Because male viewers, they don't really, a lot of males, they're not really into talk shows like that. That's why they have female panels or female talk show hosts, because they know they're going to draw in a mostly female audience, and they'll regulate the males to late night because they'll figure some males will stay up more longer than the female would. Now, if you want to bring race into it, there has never really been any black male talk show hosts. And since, well, the longest running one, of course, is Montel Williams. And then I think the one after that was Steve Harvey. And of course, they pulled him off the air last year. And get this, they took him off the air instead of replacing him with another male host. They or giving another male shine to have his own show in that spot. They replaced him with a woman, Kelly Clarkson, a woman who has never hosted a talk show in her life. So now they just inserted another woman into the talk show sphere. And if you want to take it another step further, let's look into sports commentating. That used to be completely and utterly dominated by men. No matter what the social construct, whether they white, black, or otherwise, it was usually just those two right there. They had the white commentators in there mainly because they were the ones that owned it, so they was going to throw a white person in there by default. They had to throw a black person in there because sports-wise, black people dominate in that. They may not own any team, but as far as players on the field and on the court, they dominate. So they were going to have a black person there. But in recent years, what have you started to see? They insert women in there right now. They're inserting them everywhere, and not even just on sports commentating. Even now you have women who are doing local news sports broadcasting on your local news. Like when they do a sports segment, you'll find a woman that's speaking on it. At one time that was completely taboo because they said women don't really bother with sports like that. But now you're seeing them pop up even more now. And I think one issue a lot of guys have when it comes to sports commentating is because, like they said, that's something, an arena where they feel that should be catered to just, men or mostly men. Not saying that women don't watch sports, because women do, but sometimes they overstep their boundaries. And we've heard a lot of stories that come from like ESPN, where you'll have a lot of these women who come on there and they'll give their take on something that has nothing to do with what they're supposed to be talking about, which is sports. And then you have the whole Me Too thing that's pretty much in rotation right now. It's kind of letting off steam, but it's not gone away and faded into obscurity like it got snapped by Thanos. So you really got to take all of that into consideration. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that a lot of women claim that they don't have a voice to voice their opinion about a lot of things. But when you look at all these talk shows that are on, such as The Real, Wendy Williams, The View, Ellen, Kelly Clarkson, and so many other people, you have all these women hosting talk shows, and not only just them hosting at that time slot, but they're hosting on prime time on core networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, because CBS has The Talk, ABC has The View, Fox has The Real, Ellen and Kelly are on NBC. So they have all the primary slots. Sorry, I had to step away right quick, but basically what I was saying was, I just gave you a list of different talk shows that are hosted by women that fall into every core network: CBS, ABC, Fox, ABC. Those are the core four that I call them the core four right there, because those are big, giant corporation style networks. And there's a talk show that has a panel of women or one woman hosting each one. And of course, Oprah, she was pretty much dominating throughout the 90s and early 2000s on ABC, which is why you didn't really see a lot of them out there like that. But when she went away, a whole bunch of other ones popped up because they said it's safe now. Oprah's no longer on, so we can now get the ratings. I don't know if anyone else picked that up or not, because they was like, who's going to be the next daytime talk show queen? That was a question they was going to keep on asking. And I think they put Ellen into that slot. I think they slipped her into that particular slot. And then notice that whenever they had a lot of talk shows that had men, notice that they kind of faded into obscurity. Like they either got canceled or they got replaced. Like I said with Steve Harvey, you know how we feel about him, but he got replaced by another woman. Then you have some shows where you'll have it where it's co-hosted, where you'll have the duo, such as, you know, having a male host and a female host, you know, doing like a talk show, like when Regis used to be on, like it was Regis and Kathy Lee. It wasn't just Regis or Regis and him co-hosting with another man. It was him and another woman. And then when they left, you had Kelly come in, Kelly Ripa, and she's been on for years now, but they have literally recycled man after man after man. Even her own husband used to come in sometimes, and she's still there. She's still there. Right now, it's called Kelly and Ryan. And notice that they switched it. It used to be Regis and Kelly, but now it's reversed, and they put her first and then the male co-host. And Ryan Seacrest has been around doing commentating and hosting since American Idol. He's been out just as long as she has, but she's been more mainstream because I think she got started in acting and then she went and became a host. And that's where she's been at. So it's Kelly and Ryan. So notice they put the woman first and then the guy second. And you also got to take into account that they are a ratings draw. So they'll use them as a ratings draw. They know that the ratings are always going to be there, no matter what pops off. And here's another thing. And I might end the video after this, but I'm stretching so I can get to this last point. What a lot of the women talk about on those shows, a lot of the stuff they talk about, men could not get away with. Look at what Loni Love just said on The Real the other day that had a lot of people upset at her, and rightfully so. She said that black men are unable to be faithful. Let a black man get up there and say that, and he could be with a black woman, and he said that there would be an uproar. Now, let him be with a white woman, it might be World War III. Now, here you have Loni Love, who's with a bottom shelf Brad, because he is bottom shelf. His name ain't Brad, but he is bottom shelf, who she's probably taking care of. Based on his credentials, she's taking care of him. She got on her platform and said that openly to the world with a white guy on her arm. And there's very little pushback. There is some pushback, but not as much as if it came from a black man saying that, whether he was with a black woman or a white woman or any other race of woman who was not those two. And then one thing I forgot to mention in my commentary is you had Adrienne Bailon, a Latina, try to soften the blow by saying, well, it's not just one particular man that will cheat if he has money and power and everything like that, because she comes from a background where men are known to cheat and have money and influence and power. Loni cut her off and said, no, it comes from the black community, and then threw in the part about slavery. So Loni has an innate hatred for black men, and whether she wants to admit to it or not, that, like I said in my other video, is bathed and showered in mammyism. But because she's a woman, she is able to do that. Only when it's a black man, though. That's the confine as far as it will go. But she bet not step outside of that box. Because if they do, they will strip her of whatever it is that she thinks she has. Then what will her bottom shelf Brad think of her then? He's probably going to end up leaving her. Look at what happened with Aisha Tyler and the other wenches before her and the ones after her. That's really all I have to say about this. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.